basket, a transition guard that's playing really well right now.
But there is a lot swirling around this program at the moment. It concerns the future of head coach Bobby Hurley. Here's Chris Button.
Hi, Dan. There are reports that Bobby Hurley is out at Arizona State at the end of the season when his contract expires. Bobby Hurley spoke to the media yesterday. He said, I've heard it and I have not had any communication from the administration, but I did have some communication with my team. I wanted them to understand and just have free-form communication. He said, but I'm not concerned about that right now. My concern is continuing this season, hopefully past Kansas City. But he said, in order to do that, we got to win 5 games in 5 days. And in this league, that might be tougher than winning a national championship, Dan.
There is no question about it with the depth of this field here in Kansas City. He wants to keep the season going, and Jay, his players want to keep things going with him as long as they possibly can.
Well, they got off to a great start against Baylor, where they led basically wire to wire. But against Iowa State, the last time these two teams played, Arizona State turned it over 23 times. That was a negative 14 turnover margin in favor of Iowa State. And they got to take care of the ball in this one because Iowa State is a great defensive team. Not a good one, a great one.
And the last time they played was 4 days ago. It was the regular season finale for both of these teams. And in Ames, at Hilton, Arizona State had a 4-point lead early in the second half before Iowa State went on a 24-0 run. So these two teams very familiar with one another. And we are underway here in day 2 in Kansas City with Joshua Jefferson, who's had a remarkable year for the Cyclones, getting him started. Now Tamin Lipsey from Ames, Iowa, 4-year starter. They turn it over, and back come the Sun Devils in transition.
Really well defended, that opening play by Arizona State, and that's going to be important at this game, that they communicate on the defensive end.
Mo Odom with the ball, the leading scorer for Arizona State, almost 17 a game, and he turns it over.
Being guarded by Killian Toure, one of the best defenders in the country, long-armed, and he's also physical.
Jefferson into traffic and steps. So 3 possessions and 3 turnovers already in this game as you look at the Iowa State lineup, which includes maybe the best shooter in the country. Maybe it's not even a maybe in Milan Momcilovic.
It's definitely not a maybe. He's the best shooter in the country. You make 114 threes on the season and shoot 50%. There's an argument to be made that Momcilovic doesn't shoot it enough.
A minute in, still scoreless. Neither team has been able to get a shot off yet. Andrea Grbovic, had a very good game yesterday for the Sun Devils with 13 points, 9 rebounds, and now he turns it over. So each team has already turned it over twice.
Well, Dan, in the first 2 possessions for Arizona State, Iowa State's pressure is pushing the offense further out on the floor. That makes passes longer and it makes drives longer, and that allows Iowa State to get their help side in position, makes them even more difficult to beat.
The Cyclones 7th in defensive efficiency nationally per KenPom. This is Toure. And this is Momcilovic. He gets free but can't hit the 3. He might get another crack at it. He draws a couple. Toure into the paint. 10 to shoot. Jefferson has it knocked away, runs it down. 5 to shoot. It'll be Buchanan with the turnaround, and still neither team able to score.
Arizona State has come out playing hard on the defensive end, but look how far out this offense is starting, near midcourt.
Buchanan slips, another Arizona State turnover. Little shot fake by Momcilovic. He'll spin and lay it in for the first points of the game.
Because Momcilovic is such a great shooter, that's got gravity to it. And Masamba Diop had to get out and contest it. Little shot fake, and you can blow right by him.
Masamba Diop with a big job on his hands with the bigs of Iowa State. Odom the miss. Offensive rebound, Santiago Truitt. And now Grbovic from the corner misses it. True at the tip, but Buchanan for the Cyclones.
Rebounding is going to be a big factor in this game.
Jefferson. Buchanan is fouled on his way to the rim.
Momcilovic is such a great shooter for Iowa State. When he gets the ball, he gives this little shot fake, and Jop flies right past him, and that opens up that driving lane for him to spin past Mo Odom and get all the way to the bucket.
At the line for Iowa State is Blake Buchanan, a junior from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Spent a couple of years with Virginia before transferring to Iowa State this year, as TJ Otzelberger is going to his bench. Tamin Lipsey is coming out.
Have you ever been to Coeur d'Alene, Iowa?
I have
Idaho?
never been to Coeur d'Alene,
It is spectacularly beautiful. Spectacular.
And Buchanan misses them both, but an offensive rebound. Momcilovic misses the three. Heisey had it, lost it, got it back.
Nate Heisey seems to get every loose ball. You talk about a great glue guy. That's Nate Heisey.
Plays about 25 minutes per game off the bench. Momcilovic, Torre. Boy, and we've got a defensive struggle on our hands right now. Buchanan, no. The follow is good.
Offensive rebounding has been a difficult thing for Arizona State to deal with. They gave up 17 offensive rebounds against Baylor, certainly survived the game. But you have got to put bodies on people. What a bad pass.
And another turnover, and Bobby Hurley is looking at his players saying, what are you guys doing right now?
Well, it's easier to say than it is to do, but when you play against pressure, and especially the kind of physical pressure that Iowa State brings, you have to attack that pressure at the point it's applied. Being strong with the ball, and everybody has to screen harder and make sharp cuts.
Big Johnson into the game for Arizona State. Dominicus Plata is in off the bench for Iowa State. Here's Plata. Now Jefferson. First team all Big 12, and certainly will get some All-America recognition when it's all said and done. Leaves the three short. Another offensive rebound.
Got it off the long rebound.
Lipsey drains it, and it's 7-0 Cyclones.
One of the reasons that we all say the best time to shoot a three is after an offensive rebound is because the defensive team, when the shot goes up, is thinking about offense, and they're not as organized.
Odom, no. Johnson runs it down. And Jop goes into some traffic and turns it over yet again. 5 turnovers committed by Arizona State, and they've allowed 6 offensive rebounds. They have hardly gotten a shot off so far in this game. Lipsey with a 3, and it's Iowa State up early. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball.
Which was very loud for a period of time because Bobby Hurley very frustrated with his team. He said, you can't have me looking at the play sheet at the under 16 and having no idea what to call. Said you got to commit to rebounding, and when we get open shots against this defense, you have to make them.
Well, you also have to stop dribbling your way out of trouble and pass your way out of it. Right now, they're trying to dribble out of it.
Now an Iowa State turnover. Johnson with a slam. And finally, the first bucket of the day for the Sun Devils.
Pig Johnson takes everything to dunk, not just in transition, but that's the kind of energy when he comes off the bench that Arizona State needs. They need to fight.
There are few in the country who play every possession with as much energy and as much determination as Pig Johnson. Again, started his career at a junior college, went to an NAIA school, and now is a double-figure scorer in the Big 12 for Arizona State. Jefferson at the other end, the lead back to 7.
Really nice high-low action from Arizona State, or excuse me, from Iowa State. You take a look at Anthony Pig Johnson putting pressure on the ball, then switching out and reading the eyes of the passer to take away that reversal pass, then takes it the other way. And Dan, everything he takes to the basket, he tries to dunk it, sometimes to his detriment because he's not a big guy.
Had a great game yesterday, as we mentioned off the top of the show. 19 points, 6 rebounds, a couple of assists.
And Arizona State can't get the ball in on out of bounds underneath. You know, when you're open right away, you got to get the ball.
They are 1 for 4 with 6 turnovers in the first 5 minutes of this game.
Yeah, that is not a good recipe.
Jamarian Bateman off the bench. He can really shoot it. Plata guarded by Truitt. Plata trying to use that shoulder to muscle his way in, and he does.
Arizona State has some size up front, but they're not an overly physical team. And Iowa State is physical. And they have big bodies, and they are willing to throw those bodies around.
Johnson trying to get by Bateman, and he draws a foul.
Well, Johnson did a really nice job there. Bateman was really crowding him, and he stayed low. The low man wins in basketball.
And it looks like Joshua Jefferson may be favoring something a little bit. He's not looking over to the bench. No sub coming in, but we will keep an eye on it, see how capably he is moving around the court here. Johnson splits a double, kick to the corner, but we've got a push and another foul. And really, Pig Johnson has been the only thing that has gone well offensively so far for the Sun Devils. As Nate Heisey just picked up his second, he'll go to the bench, and Torrey back in.
Johnson is just in attack mode all the time.
And you see a bit of a stumble there from Jefferson, but again, still in the game. And stop me if you've heard this before, but another turnover. Bryce Ford had a foot on the line when he launched the three. And now Jefferson is going out, Jay, so this is something to keep an eye on. This is one of the best all-around players in the country.
Well, Joshua Jefferson, only 5 players in the country are averaging 15 points, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds a game. And he's the only one in a major conference that's doing that.
Johnson to Alan Mukeba, a grad transfer from Belgium. And this has gotten beyond the point where Bobby Hurley can even stand to look at it right now with how often his team is turning it over. Here's one more look at the Jefferson play, and maybe it was right there, Jay, knee to knee with Mukeba. He is not getting any medical attention on the bench at the moment, so maybe it was just time for him to come out, but again, we'll keep an eye on it.
Iowa State trying to keep the floor spread, ball in the middle of the floor and high.
Bateman into traffic, kicks it back out. Buchanan, nice feed inside. Momcilovic with a chance for 3.
Momcilovic just a little step and go against Gribovich. Just a beautifully run play. And it happened basically on the third side of the floor. Iowa State lifted up the Arizona State defense, and they moved the ball from side to side. And then a beautiful step and go backdoor cut by Milan Momcilovic. Say that 10 times fast. Say that 1 time fast.
And you worked a Gribovich in there on the same play. 17 a game from Momcilovic, and by today's standards in this sport at the high major level, Momcilovic 3 years in the program. Taman Lipsey 4 years in the program. 2nd year for Joshua Jefferson. That's pretty good continuity compared to a lot of other high major programs that TJ Otzelberger has.
Well, look how high out Arizona State is having to run its offense.
Mukeba running hook, and it goes. Just their 2nd bucket of the game.
Got by 2 defenders. This is a strong move by Mukeba.
Mismatch here. Momcilovic spins into the double, finds the cutter. Extra pass from Torrey to Buchanan.
A beautiful job by Torrey to catch the ball and move into the middle of the lane from the top.
A 21-point win for the Cyclones over the Sun Devils 4 days ago to wrap up the regular season. Johnson spinning, still going, and lays it in.
Boy, what a terrific move. The little Euro step at the end, taking on the low man. Pig Johnson is off to a great start, but he's right now is the only one. And they're laying off Torrey, who has not been shooting the ball well at all. And Pig Johnson just basically playing a one-man zone in the middle of the lane.
Torrey known much more as a defender than a scorer.
He's 0 of 11 from 3 in his last 5 games. And shooting under 25% over that period. Iowa State doing a good job of moving the ball, but Torre making himself available after setting that screen, a little screen and slip. You know, oftentimes the screener is the one that's open right after setting a good screen.
So Jamarian Bateman, the freshman from Milwaukee, is at the line. He's had a nice season for Iowa State as Jefferson checks back into the game. So whatever it was appears to be something that he can deal with right now. TJ Otzelberger in his 5th year in Ames, a couple of Sweet 16 trips, 2022, 2024, and they've got their sights set on that and more, Jay, here this season.
Well, TJ Otzelberger's done a great job at Iowa State. They have just a wonderful culture, and I can't imagine there's a coach in America with a better demeanor during a game than TJ Otzelberger.
You never see him lose his cool, is it?
Never.
Yeah.
Kind of like you.
Only different. Odom, trap, gets out of it. Have not said Masamba Diop's name a whole lot today. He's a very important player in this game for the Sun Devils. Johnson to Gribovich, who misses the corner 3. And back come the Clones.
It's really hard to run any offense against Iowa State. They're just pushing Arizona State so far out on the floor. They get down to 10, 12 seconds on the shot clock, and then they got to do something.
What a pass. What a feed from Jefferson to Buchanan.
Operating out of the short roll and just a beautiful bounce pass to Buchanan along the baseline. That's a big-time play by Joshua Jefferson.
Really a unique skill set for Jefferson. Averaged 5 assists per game on the season. 4 times had 10 or more. Extra pass here finds Johnson. Too strong on the 3.
No offensive rebound coverage on that long rebound. Yeah, Joshua Jefferson started his career playing for Randy Bennett at St. Mary's before transferring to Iowa State.
And speed into the corner, but Momcilovic misses the 3.
And that's what Arizona State needs. Their guards have to get down and rebound. It can't just be the big guys.
Ford gets free behind the screen and misses the 3. Johnson. Shot inside, has it taken away, but got it back. Shot clock at 10. Johnson. Gribovich, and he threw it to the Iowa State bench. Bobby Hurley is saying that ball was deflected.
It was not.
But to no avail. Almost halfway through the first half, 19-6, a 13-point lead for Iowa State with a nice presidential combo here, Jay.
Oh, I see what you did there. Jefferson to Buchanan. What about President Momcilovic?
Lesser known.
I am the perfect person to talk about being unselfish. And Iowa State has been unselfish on the offensive end. Beautiful passing by the Cyclones to take advantage of when Arizona State gets 2 on the ball. Excellent work out of the short roll by Joshua Jefferson. But you and I were talking during the break. You don't often see a stat where Arizona State has 0 assists and 9 turnovers in the first almost 10 minutes of the first half. Iowa State's defense has dictated the action early in this game. And Arizona State's going to have to meet the moment and be tougher and stronger with the ball and set better screens off the ball to get people open.
And again, Saturday, the Cyclones forced the Sun Devils into 23 turnovers and scored 29 points off those turnovers. And turnover margin is one of the ways that TJ Otzelberger says his team has to excel to win games. He said they want to win the possession game. Just get more shots than the other team because they're not an offensive juggernaut. The 2 ways they try to do that: turning you over as they do it again and winning the rebounding battle.
And one of the things Iowa State also does really well is they run good offense. Now they throw the ball away, but they run good offense that helps them set their defense.
And Mo Odom is on the board. It's 19-8.
One of the few mistakes turnover-wise that Iowa State has made past the opening minute. And you don't see Tamin Lipsey throw the ball away very much. He's got one of the best assist turnover ratios in the country.
What a career he has had. All kinds of emotion at senior night a few days ago for coach, player, fans alike. Here he is as as he hits the three. A guy who committed to T.J. Otzelberger before this program had been rebuilt, Jay, into what it is now. Spoke with Otzelberger yesterday, and 3 or 4 times he used the phrase, life after Lipsey, life after Tamin. He is sad to see him go.
Well, he should be. Tamin Lipsey is a respected player, but look at his little fade action, and then the corner defender, Bryce Ford, has to come up, and that opens it up for Tamin Lipsey for the wide open three. That's just beautiful offense and great spacing by Iowa State.
Chris has more.
I talked to Tamin Lipsey about that first meeting that he had with T.J. Otzelberger, a season that when he got hired, Iowa State didn't win a single game in the Big 12. I asked him what led you to believe, and he said he believed in me. That's what it was, and that there was going to be this commitment to defense. I knew that he could get this program turned around in a short amount of time.
And has he ever, have they ever, turning this into one of the better programs in America in the last 4 years.
Look how far out Arizona State has to run offense.
Mayusin, though, with a nice find to Truitt as they managed to get a bucket out of it.
Well, Truitt set a ball screen and then rolled right to the basket. But man, that's going to be a difficult task if you're starting your offense past midcourt.
Bateman inside. Plata will flush it.
Plata got a switch and just locked down Anthony Johnson in the middle of the lane. You know, talking about Tamin Lipsey, sometimes you're fortunate too. He grew up in Ames, Iowa. It's kind of like Chris Paul growing up in the Winston-Salem area and going to Wake Forest. You see Plata just with that little pitch back, and Anthony Johnson winds up having to switch, and that's just a mismatch down low. Beautiful pass, leading Plata into his move, passing away from the defense, not just to the offense.
Plata knocks it away from Truitt, but out of bounds. Still Arizona State ball. Plata's had a nice year. A freshman from Germany. It's a fairly tight rotation for Iowa State, but I think T.J. Otzelberger, Jay, has a very good feel for what every player in his rotation is going to give him on a daily basis.
Oh, there's great role acceptance at Iowa State. It's a fabulous culture, and Plata, he played very well against Arizona State last week. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, and a couple of steals against the Sun Devils.
Rubovich into a lot of traffic. He got tied up by Bateman. The possession arrow will keep it with the Sun Devils, but another good defensive play.
That's just Bateman being in the gap. And instead of swiping at the ball, he goes after it with 2 hands. You're less likely to pick up a foul that way.
Mayusin, the sophomore from Belgium, try to get it in, and they do. An immediate trap and another turnover.
You can't just leave the floor to make that pass without knowing where it's going.
Bateman for 3, Lipsey the assist. It is all Cyclones right now.
Bateman is such a confident shooter right now.
Johnson, tough shot on the baseline, off the side of the backboard.
They got him with a kick. He kicked his legs out. They called an offensive foul.
And nothing is going right for Bobby Hurley and the Sun Devils at the moment. Iowa State is out to a big 17-point lead already, Jay.
And it's been the Iowa State defense that is dictating with pressure and physicality. There's been very little transition, and Iowa State has been on point on the offensive end. All Cyclones.
The first month is free.
Are you wondering if your retirement plan is on track? Maybe it's time to find out. At Fisher Investments, we're a full-time fiduciary. Our goal is to grow your wealth and help you retire comfortably. We'll show you ways to minimize excessive fees so more of your money stays invested and working for you. If your portfolio is $1 million or more, we have up-to-date guidance you need now.
Call or scan for your free Smart Retirement Action Kit today. Call 1-800-770-3377.
Hey, Tom, Kevin Zubin in the studio over on ESPN2. Here comes Darian Williams for NC State at the ACC tourney.
Well, Darian Williams, they need this type of consistency from him if they are going to go anywhere inside of this tournament or the NCAAs.
Meanwhile, Kentucky playing in the middle of the week in the afternoon. It's been that kind of season. Here's Jasper Johnson.
What a great floater by Jasper Johnson. Kentucky's playing well right now.
Dan, Jay, we'll be watching everything. We'll keep you up to date all day long.
Zubin, Tom, Kevin, glad to have you along with us. Dan Shulman, Jay Billis, Chris Budden here in Kansas City. All Iowa State in this second round matchup. Arizona State can barely take care of the ball long enough to get a shot attempt off. Jefferson, a lot of traffic, and turned it over. Steps as he tried to split that double team.
I think the last time Kentucky played in that building in Nashville, Gonzaga blew their doors off.
Yes, like blew their doors off. A lot of intrigue in the SEC tournament, of course. Can anybody slow down the Florida Gators right now? They come on in the second half of the season and looking like they could be a 1 seed, and one would think the favorite to win that tournament in Nashville.
Arizona State moving Mo Odom off the ball for this possession, letting Mewson initiate offense, try to make Mo Odom a little more of a weapon so he doesn't have to go against the pressure to start.
Odom had a huge game early in the season. We saw Arizona State out of Maui, and in their first game there, he dropped 36 on Texas. A transfer from Pepperdine. He is the leading scorer on this team at almost 17 a game.
Well, he's had, what, 11 games with 20 points or more. He can get it going in a hurry, and he takes some deep ones.
Boy, every inch of real estate tough to come by right now for the Sun Devils. Truitt, little push off to create some space. And the rebound to Jefferson.
Well, what a block out by Tamin Lipsey so Jefferson could get that ball.
There is a real feel of selflessness with all the guys playing on the floor at all times for Iowa State, wouldn't you think?
Oh, Iowa State, they're a well-oiled machine. Like, you know, they haven't shot it well over the last 8 games or so, maybe 9 games. But their defense never stops. That's what keeps them in every game and gives them a chance to win.
And I think we may have a challenge here.
Out-of-bounds play is being challenged by Arizona State.
Yeah, Bobby Hurley is going to challenge the out-of-bounds ball here. Iowa State ball, but he will use a challenge here in the first half to try to get that overturned. So we will step aside for 30 seconds while they have a look at the monitor. We'll be back before you know it.
This one or this one?
Sam, are you cheating on me with another pet store?
It's not you. It's just they have auto ship. I still go to PetSmart for grooming and toys.
We don't want to be your side pet store, Sam. PetSmart has auto ship too.
You do?
And so much more. Come on. We also have same-day delivery and in-store pickup.
You're like the full package.
Exactly. Shop anything, anyway. PetSmart. Anything for pets.
Well, as you can see here on the glass court here in Kansas City, that previous play is under review, and it has been a successful challenge for Bobby Hurley. It was clearly off with Jefferson. It'll be Arizona State ball.
Iowa State continuing the pressure, just make it difficult for Arizona State to bring the ball up the floor.
Nate Heisey back into the game. He is playing with a couple of fouls here for the Cyclones. I mean, more turnovers than points scored is a tough recipe for Arizona State, but this is what you get sometimes when you play against one of the best defensive teams in the nation in Iowa State. Offensive rebound by Jop, and he turns it over. Did he step out of bounds? I think he stepped on the baseline, and that is turnover number 13 committed by the Sun Devils.
And that's one where Jop, who worked hard to get an offensive rebound, just has to go right up. And you figure at worst, you're going to get your shot blocked and get it back.
He has been playing some really good basketball recently for the Sun Devils. Double figures in 11 consecutive games. Had a big game and a win over Kansas recently, but he has not been much of a factor at all in this one.
Well, this is a tough one for him. I mean, he turned it over 7 times in that game a week ago when Arizona State and Iowa State played. But one thing that Masamba Jop cannot do is when he catches the ball, he can't put it on the floor against Iowa State. They're just going to take it away or knock it away.
So 5 made field goals for Arizona State and 13 turnovers. They find themselves down 19.
Oh, what a good switch by Momcilovic. He switches up, and it's going to be under 5 before they get a shot up.
Turnaround, Truitt, no. Tip, no. Iowa State ball.
This Iowa State defense, and it's all started at the point of attack with the pressure they have on the ball. And Arizona State starting its offense 35 feet away from the basket.
Bateman, great bounce pass. Oh, and Buchanan missed the jam. Inside 5 minutes to go in the first half. Jock, Odom, well short on the 3.
Blake Buchanan did a terrific job in pick and roll defense on the right side of the floor.
Bateman, no. Here's Pig Johnson, back in recently after a couple of minutes off the bench. He's got one speed. It is fast. And a trap in the corner, and Arizona State forced to use a timeout to retain possession. Boy, how frustrating this 15.5 minutes must have been so far for the Sun Devils. It is all Iowa State. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefit plan that works for your team. BC men's tournament in Charlotte right now. Duke and Carolina on the same side of the bracket. So if they win their quarterfinal matchups, they would meet in the semis. I think maybe the big story in that conference right now, Jay, and it's because they're a national contender, is the injuries that Duke is dealing with right now. As we had a technical foul assessed going into that last timeout on Pig Johnson. And it looked like in the aftermath, Bobby Hurley and company were complaining, saying, hey, Johnson wasn't talking to one of the officials. He was talking to a teammate, talking to himself, but he got teed up.
Yeah, Mo Odom was near him, and there was a player behind him. And I think Bobby Hurley and Johnson were both telling the official, I was talking to a teammate.
So it is a 20-point lead right now for the Cyclones. Johnson gets into the lane and misses a tough jumper. How many clean looks have the Sun Devils had in this game? 2. They are 5 for 16 from the floor, 0 for 8 from three-point range, and have not attempted a free throw in this game.
Well, how do you get any rhythm when you've turned it over 13 times?
And there's a clean look for, again, maybe the best shooter in the country in Milan Momcilovic.
Well, when the ball gets reversed, they're beating the shift, and Momcilovic able to just catch and shoot comfortably.
Foul on Killian Torrey. Here's the look for Momcilovic.
No, that's just too easy. Look, when you're having this much of a struggle on the offensive end, it's going to affect your defense. As much as you try to say, don't let offensive struggles affect defense, there's clearly some frustration on the part of Arizona State right now.
Mayusin in and out. Rebound of Buchanan, and a foul on Mayusin. It'll be the 6th team foul on the Sun Devils. This is an Arizona State program that has had some good moments. They've got a couple of nice wins. They have beat Kansas. They have beat Texas Tech. But overall, I would say a frustrating season. 17 and 15, 7 and 11 in the league. And they know their next loss, Jay, is the end of their season.
Well, Arizona State got off to a good start. I mean, we saw them in Maui. They beat Texas. They got off to, I think, a 6-1 start before losing the final of the Maui Invitational. And that win over Kansas, you saw what Arizona State could do at its best. But this has not been the Sun Devils' best to start this game off.
Jefferson, another good pass, but Buchanan has it knocked away.
Good job by Truitt to use that left hand to knock it away.
Johnson, again, a tough contested shot. Jefferson just 2 points so far. Extra pass again. Right back to Heisey. Extra pass again. And another trip to the free throw line. Buchanan and Jock exchanging words.
Well, Buchanan thought he got fouled hard. And he did get fouled hard, but I don't think there was anything dirty about it. And then Jock gets teed up. Referee's just trying to keep control of this. When you have a team that's frustrated, it can get out of hand.
And we might have another one. There was just another ovation or uproar from that side of the court, and we'll have to sort this out. We've got a personal, we've got what appears to be a technical on Job, and there might be something else on top of that.
Well, there might be a review of the foul in the first place. I didn't think there was anything that would rise to the level just with the looking at the play on the foul itself. Oh, it might be on Johnson. He grabbed him by the head. Oh, I thought it was Jop they were worried about.
So a personal foul on Johnson.
Oh, yeah, he grabbed him around the head.
Which they could look at to upgrade.
They're going to upgrade that.
Yeah.
No question.
And then a technical on Jop. And then I think, Jay, there's also a bench technical we're trying to confirm. There may have been another technical assessed on top of that. And if it's possible to go from bad to worse right now, Arizona State's going in that direction.
And it's important for the Sun Devils to keep their composure right now. I mean, this is going to be upgraded.
All right, after review, we have upgraded the unnecessary contact to the head by number 2. So Iowa State will shoot 2 free throws for the flagrant 1. And then there's 2 technical fouls, 1 on 35 for Arizona State and 1 on the head coach. So we'll shoot 6 free throws, Iowa State ball.
Wow. So it's the 3rd on Pig Johnson, and because it's been upgraded to a flagrant, Iowa State's going to get the ball. So 6 free throws and then Iowa State ball. So Buchanan's got to shoot the 2 for the personal, for the flagrant foul. And then anybody they want can shoot the 4 for the technicals.
I would think it would be Momcilovic shooting the next 4. He's a 90% free throw shooter. Well, it's going to take a long time to shoot 6 free throws. I don't think I've ever seen 6 free throws in a row.
This has been an unusual half in about the worst way possible for Arizona State. The errant ball, after it hit the rim, it bounced over towards the Sun Devils bench, and you saw Bobby Hurley, who's in no kind of a mood right now, kind of sort of hustling after it, flipping it back to the official. Frustration is really at a very high level right now for everybody on the Arizona State side.
If I were the official, when Bobby Hurley threw me that ball, I would have scored. He's the all-time leader in assists in college basketball. I mean, get it on the act.
Braden Smith's got a chance to pass him this year, but what does it say about him as a player? And you were very close to the program, obviously an assistant coach for part of the time when Hurley was there. What does it say about him that all these years later that record still stands?
Well, Bobby Hurley was not a great player. He was an amazing player and never got the credit I think he deserved as a defender. I've never seen a player that when he was putting pressure on the ball and an opposing point guard would back dribble and create space, that he could reassume that pressure. And I never saw Bobby Hurley get tired. Never saw him got tired. Just an amazing player.
The lead grows after all of those free throws. It is 38-10 with under 3 minutes to go in the first half here in the second round game. And another great feed. Jefferson finds Bateman.
It wasn't even a back pick. There was no contact made by Momcilovic on the screen for the screener action. Bateman wide open. Arizona State's just totally out of sorts right now.
And the Cyclones now have 11 assists on 14 made field goals.
No team has ever needed halftime more than Arizona State needs it right now.
Jop will get a friendly bounce, and that will snap an 18-0 run for Iowa State. If you are just sitting down and tuning in, that score is correct. It is 40-12 for the 7th-ranked Cyclones, the 5 seed here in the Big 12 tournament. Odom known. Odom with just 2 points in a very quiet first half so far.
He hadn't had a look at the basket before that one. And that one you have to take without making a pass.
Bateman. Boy, they respect his 3 a lot as well, and that gives him, Jay, the opportunity to shot, fake, and drop.
Yeah, just a poor closeout by Musin. And right now, Iowa State's getting whatever it wants on the offensive end.
Bateman, who averages 7 already, has 9.
That is not a good idea to dribble against Iowa State. That's another. He's got 12 turnovers in 2 games against Iowa State.
And Jefferson, the length of the floor, and a chance for 3.
You just can't have your 7-footer dribbling the ball out on the perimeter against Iowa State. You're just asking for another turnover. 3 guys around him, has his back turned to Bateman. Bateman goes after it with both hands, and there is no way to stop that kind of run out.
The 15th turnover committed by Arizona State. They also haven't made a 3. They've also got 3 technical fouls and a flagrant foul. I mean, what else can go wrong?
I mean, this game would be tied if it were just based on Iowa State's technical foul shots.
Ford can't get by Momcilovic. Tries again.
You're not going to dribble your way through this defense. The ball's got to move. And right now there's no movement for Arizona State.
And Jefferson, again, the rip it to go, finds Buchanan, who gets tied up on the court. The possession arrow favors the Cyclones. Boy, what a weapon Jefferson is when he can grab a rebound, bring you up the court, finish it, or find a teammate.
Well, he's such a skilled playmaker. And he's got 16 games this year with 15 or more points and 5 or more assists. You'd have to go back to George Niang at Iowa State to have a player that's duplicated that sort of consistency in those areas.
Nice feed inside to Mukeba, and he will earn a trip to the line for the Sun Devils.
Just a double drag up top, and Mukeba slips out of that second screen.
Alan Mukeba, transfer from Oakland, is at the line to prepare for the Sun Devils.
Also played down the road at UMKC.
Yeah, that's right. Well, here's a look at the SEC men's tournament bracket. We talked about Florida and how well they are playing. Alabama, Arkansas, Vandy also earning the double bye. Kentucky is playing now. They did not get any sort of a bye. Got to win a 9-16 game to take on Missouri tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be all kinds of fun in Nashville as well, as it always is at the SEC tournament.
The SEC is the only conference that this year I thought was competitive with the Big 12 for best conference in the country, but it's different. Like the SEC's probably deeper in really good teams, but at the top of the league, I don't think anybody competes with the Big 12. There's more championship contenders in this league. Last year, there's no question, the SEC was the best league. And honestly, I think it's the best league I've ever seen. 14 of the 16 teams in the SEC went to the tournament last year. And when have you ever? That's never happened before, and I'm not sure it'll ever happen again.
Right now, Joe Lunardi's got 10 coming out of the SEC and the Big 10. To your point about the depth of the SEC, the Big 12, 8 at the moment. Certainly room for maybe 1 or 2 more to get in there if they play well this week. But to look at the top of the league, when you've got Arizona as the 1, Houston as the 2 here in the Big 12, Kansas as the 3, Texas Tech as the 4, and this Iowa State team as the 5 seed in this league. That tells you all you need to know about how strong it is at the top. Jefferson in and out. And Arizona State, if they so choose, can hold for the final shot.
I don't even know what sort of analogy you can make, but when Tamin Lipsey is guarding you, I mean, you're looking at a pit bull.
Ford snakes his way in and scores, and that will bring the first half to an end. That is one of the very few highlights for the Sun Devils here in the opening 20 minutes. It was all Iowa State. It started with relentless defense, and then they were so crisp and moved the ball so well at the offensive end as well. One of the big guys who was great on both ends, Tamin Lipsey's with Chris Bud.
Yeah, Tamin, what have you guys done defensively just to make it so hard on Arizona State?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with ball pressure. It starts with me, Killian, Jamarion, just picking up the ball, making their guards uncomfortable, trying to force them into plays that they don't want to make.
This is textbook for what you guys do, but that defensively, how has it set up your offense?
Oh, it makes it so much easier. You just feel good when you get stops, when you create turnovers, you're out, you're able to run, get transition buckets. It feels really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He's been the face of a program for 4 years now. The Ames Iowa native, a big role in this huge Iowa State lead at halftime as they try to advance into the quarterfinal. They did it defensively. They did it by moving the ball. They did it by making their free throws. Kevin and the guys, Norm Roberts, Miles Simon, the Sargento halftime report. Guys, they did it every which way you can.
Dan, you said it. An Arizona State team that scored 80
here in Kansas City. One-sided does not do it justice. A 29-point lead for Iowa State over Arizona State. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Chris Buddin. In a moment, let's take a look at our experts at work, brought to you by Principal.
Well, from the opening tap, it was the Iowa State defense that set the tone for this game against Arizona State. Iowa State was dictating the action with pressure and physicality. There was no transition. Their defense was set, and there was no clean offense able to be run by Arizona State due to this suffocating Iowa State pressure. And it's not like Iowa State was raining in threes and their offense was next level. They certainly played well on the offensive end and shared the ball, but it was the defense that set the tone for this gigantic halftime lead, forcing 15 Arizona State turnovers. They just made them cough the ball up, and their pickup point was so high, Arizona State couldn't run any offense.
Turned those 15 turnovers into 18 points. Here's Chris.
Spoke with Bobby Hurley coming out of the locker room. He said, listen, it just has felt like us against the world, and give credit to Iowa State. They have some fantastic players on their team, but we got to rebound and stop turning the ball over. He said one of the other things I'm disappointed in is games that we've lost, we've done it with honor and dignity, and that hasn't been us today.
And really, it was an uphill climb for them from the moment the game began. They didn't score a point for, I think, more than 4 minutes at the start of the game. Could barely get a shot off. And again, there's a lot going on around the Arizona State program. Reports that Bobby Hurley will not be renewed, will not be offered a new contract. His contract is up at the end of this season. And for people just tuning in, we saw, Jay, and it's understandable to a certain level, a lot of frustration in the first half as well.
There was clearly, with the 15 turnovers, the difficulty of trying to run any sort of offense. You know, you have to call a timeout to start the second half. They couldn't get the ball inside the three-point line.
The first of 4 second-round games between Iowa State and Arizona State, all Cyclones so far. As they try to advance into the quarterfinals, they are up a commanding 29 points here early in the second half. An early timeout after Arizona State could not get the ball in, so they burned a timeout here early in the second half. And now let's see what they can draw up offensively, which was beyond a struggle for them in the opening half. Odom over the top. Jop will lay it in, and that's one of the cleanest offensive possessions they've had in the entire game.
Well, they ran a high ball screen, got a switch, and Jop just rolled the guard, Torrey, down into the low post, and there just wasn't enough pressure on the ball to keep that pass from going in.
Momcilovic, the high scorer in the game for Iowa State with a dozen. Again, Torrey passes up a wide-open look at a three. Lipsy thought about it, drives and draws a foul on Grubovic.
Well, Iowa State, they've done a really good job on the offensive end of getting ball reversals. And they're moving the Arizona State defense before they attack it. But Arizona State hasn't had the opportunity to do that because of the pressure that Iowa State has applied all game long.
Buchanan unimpeded to the hoop as he lays it in.
It sets a screen for Momcilovic. Everybody concerned about Momcilovic shooting the three, and you're just able to slip down the lane for an easy one.
Buchanan's been a great fit in this program, and he's having a big day today. 11 points, 5 rebounds already.
He's a good rim protector, and he's an excellent screener, and then plays out of those screens.
Odom, a nice find into the corner, and the three will go down for Grubovic, and that is the first made three of the game for the Sun Devils.
Nice job relocating into the corner by Grubovic to make himself available.
Jefferson, who with everything going on for Iowa State, kind of a quiet first half, he made that look absolutely effortless getting right to the rim and laying it in with the left.
He just drops that right shoulder right into Jop and knocks him back to create that space.
And the Arizona State big guys are more length than strength. They've got a lot of height, but they're not big, bulky guys. Jop short on a three.
Iowa State's really out in passing lanes, making every pass difficult. And the dribble to pass ratio for Arizona State seems like it's about 10-1.
Everybody gets a touch. Jefferson's three won't go. Rebound Torrey. Everybody gets a touch again. And Momcilovic buries it.
Boy, what a spectacular pass by Tamin Lipsey. The ball's kicked out. Miusin goes to Lipsey. And he always knows where Momcilovic is.
Torrey hounding Odom. Now Truitt baseline draws a foul.
Just a terrific offensive rebound by Torrey. Kicks it out. That is just spectacular ball movement. You would think that Lipsey would be the one open, but when Miusin went to him, he knew right away, hey, Momcilovic is open. You know who does a great job of finding Momcilovic is Jefferson. He's got like a knack for finding Momcilovic. I bet a number of his buckets have come off Jefferson passes more so than Lipsey.
And this team would be right near the top of the list if you're talking about hockey assists as well. That second to last pass that doesn't show up in the box score, but boy, they're good at those ones too.
Why do you always have to take it to hockey? You know, the U.S. is the hockey.
Yes, I know. Everybody on the crew has made me very aware of that this year.
You guys are good at baseball, though.
Doing all right. Arizona State trying to step up the pressure a little bit, but Torrey gets it over. Plata in here early in the second half. Buchanan's gone to the bench. Jefferson, left hand, two more.
Jefferson caught that ball on the run. There was some switching. He's got Mo Odom on him. And catching it on the run, you're automatically getting downhill.
There's no question Joshua Jefferson's going to be on an All-American team, right? Whether it's first, second, third remains to be seen, but he has played at that high of a level this year.
Well, he's been a candidate for National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. He's just got such great playmaking ability. That double drag up top, he was the first screener. And, you know, years ago, they used to say, hey, catch and then go. And now it's go and then catch.
Odom, a deep one for three, around and out. And down to the rebound, Heisey.
And Iowa State's defense has made it such that you just can't establish any rhythm. Like Mo Odom has zero rhythm in this game.
Look at that pass from Jefferson behind the back to Heisey. And again, the ball not sticking at all at the offensive end. Offensive rebound, Jefferson, and he's fouled.
Jefferson set a really good screen for Momcilovic on the right side. There was a switch. He's got Mo Odom on him again and just went to the offensive glass on the off chance that Momcilovic might miss, because he hardly ever does. Watch, he sets this screen and picks off Odom and then just rolls him right down, goes right past him to get inside position for that offensive board.
Momcilovic to inbound. Jefferson one-on-one with Mukeba. Can't get the shot off. Good defense by Mukeba, giving up a bit of size in that matchup. Jefferson gets it back. No look to Momcilovic. Shot clock at 4. Open is Lipsey. And it's Arizona State ball. Another good possession. The shot just didn't fall.
Just beautiful offense run by Iowa State.
Out of bounds to the Sun Devils as the Cyclones continue to dominate here in Kansas City. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal. Let's build a retirement and benefits plan that works for you. Here, Jay, tomorrow.
And Arizona is surging. They have Koa Pete back along with Dwayne Aristode after those injuries they suffered. And they are an upward trajectory.
We had a chance to visit with Grant McCaslin, head coach of the Texas Tech Red Raiders a little bit earlier today when they were going through a practice. And I don't know that any coach in the country, Jay, has done as good a job over the course of the season as McCasland has. They've got some of the biggest wins of any team this year. And now, of course, they are playing without J.T. Toppin, who is having a first-team All-America kind of season. Unfortunately for him, suffered a torn ACL. But Texas Tech still showing that they are very dangerous.
Well, they have played very well. And what a Donovan Atwell has been a revelation this year. The lefty who transferred in from UNC Greensboro. I mean, outside of Momcilovic, he may be the best three-point shooter in the country.
You're right. Plata can't get it to go over Job. And Jalen Petty, a freshman from Seattle, has had a sensational season for them as well.
Petty's a fighter. That whole team is full of fighters. But your point about J.T. Toppin, I mean, he was headed toward Big 12 Player of the Year again. He was Big 12 Player of the Year last year, and then tore that ACL. Richie Saunders of BYU, Caleb Wilson of North Carolina. I don't remember a year where so many truly great players have been injured.
Here's a look at the first-team All-Big 12 group, and Big League, Big Team. They go with 10 for unanimous selections. Dibonsa, Flemings, and Toppin. How about A.J. Dibonsa putting up 40 last night in a first-round win for BYU here at this tournament as it's tipped back in by Job.
His second 40-point game. He had 43 earlier this season. And that was the day, I remember that day, we were at Texas Tech, and Kingston Flemings of Houston put up 42 on the Red Raiders in a losing effort. But there were 3 freshmen in the country that day that had 40-point games. Keaton Wagler of Illinois had 46 that day.
Dibonsa did it last night against Kansas State. The Cougars will take on West Virginia later on tonight. You can see that game on ESPNU with our buddies John Shambi, Fran Fraschilla. At 7 o'clock Eastern time. That is a block called on Tamin Lipsey.
And Tamin Lipsey was there, but he was fading backwards on the contact. And they're going to call that a block every time.
He was actually kind of leaning back on his way down even before the contact. So Truitt at the line.
That might have been the first transition opportunity that Arizona State's had in this game.
I guess there are some days at any level of any sport really where the coach knows there's just not, maybe not a lot he can do, that it's just not going to go their way. He knows they're playing, Bobby Hurley, that is, knows they're playing against a more talented team, a better team. He knows they can play with them, because they did for 24 minutes just 4 days ago. But it has been a different story right from the get-go here today.
And that was a frustration foul on the trap over in the corner by Mo Odom. Just grabbed a hold of Bateman.
So it's 3 on Odom. Pig Johnson has 3 as well. Jefferson all the way in and draws the foul, and he made it look like to everyone he was going to pass that ball, then just pivoted and went to the basket.
It looked like a little pitch back because there had been a switch. Job was on Lipsey, and Jefferson just with the keeper with the left hand to get into the middle of the lane and draw that contact where he's because he's a playmaker in front.
Selection Sunday is just days away. It all starts at 6 Eastern with SportsCenter on ESPN. Reese and the guys will look at the men's field of 68 as the brackets are announced, followed by bracketology and breakdowns of each region. And then at 8, it's the women's field of 68, followed by bracketology at 9, all on ESPN and the app.
Do you guys have a little pack together, all the play-by-play and host, to refer to everyone as the guys?
None of your business.
I think
it's a little fraternity. It's a fraternity.
It's J. Will, Seth, and
the
other.
And the host.
And the host.
And the other guy. Mostly now we do it just for the reaction that we see from Reese and the guy. The desired effect is achieved. Jefferson will kick it back out. Again, the extra pass. Lipsey the kick. Torrey the 3. Boy, TJ Otzelberger has to absolutely love the ball movement, even when the shot doesn't fall.
No question. But I think more than anything, he loves the defensive effort. It's just every play. They haven't taken a play off defensively, even with the big lead.
And that's the foundation of this program.
Yes.
The crowd was urging Torrey to shoot the three. As you pointed out earlier, he has been struggling recently and has passed some up here today. Tried one last possession.
Another switch.
5 to shoot. Jefferson hoists the three and hits.
Boy, what do you do? I mean, Masamba Diop had his hands down before Jefferson was into his shooting motion. That was just too late, but Jefferson could just make plays.
Odom underneath, knocked away from the hands of Ford by Bateman, but it's still Arizona State ball.
Jefferson late clock. Diop over 7 feet tall, just didn't get a hand up early enough.
Odom gets it in.
Great help defense by Bateman to stop that baseline drive by Bryce Ford.
And turnover number 19 committed by the Sun Devils. Remember, they turned it over 23 times against Iowa State on Saturday.
It is so hard to attack this Iowa State defense off of the same side of the floor. You really have to get a reversal where you can make the defense move and then attack it, but that's easier said than done. Arizona State's had a hard time just making passes in this game, especially in the first half. That was just suffocating.
Bateman finds Torrey. Again, he passes up the three. They know he's going to, playing off him.
Yeah, they haven't even guarded him. And he's got to start taking those. He's a good enough shooter where he's got to have just the credibility to take that shot.
Momcilovic, no. Rebound Truitt. Odom. And a little bit too far for Johnson for the 20th turnover committed by the Sun Devils here in this game. They are down trophy. Just such an outstanding league. You look at this new glass court that has been installed here. Was in for the women's tournament last week, now the men's tournament this week. And they can basically put anything they want to. They can light up certain parts of the court, make it certain colors when teams are being introduced. We can help them out, show some replays here. Whatever you want, you can see on this court here at T-Mobile Center in Kansas City, the home of the Big 12 tournament yet again.
You think during timeouts they could put in like episodes of Landman? I've gotten behind on Billy Bob Thornton.
You never know. Ask. Lipsy into the front court. A little pressure by the Sun Devils, but the Cyclones handle it relatively easily.
What a luxury it is for TJ Otzelberger to have Tamin Lipsy running his team. You don't have to worry about anything.
It's tipped out of bounds, and I think we might have an overrule here. That looked like the Arizona State player kind of swatted it away. It is being overturned and giving it to Iowa State. TJ Otzelberger yesterday, when speaking to us about Tamin Lipsy, he said, I'll put him up against anybody when you talk about his ability as a player, the kind of person he is, how good of a teammate he is. And then he said, and we were so happy, Tamin Lipsy won the Big 12 Scholar Athlete of the Year. That meant a lot to Lipsy, meant a lot to Otzelberger, meant a lot to the program.
He's just a respected player. I mean, every player in the league knows when they're playing against Tamin Lipsy that they're going to get all-out effort from a great college player, and he just conducts himself with such class on and off the floor.
I don't know where or how long he will play professionally, you know, what the next several years look like for Tamin Lipsy, but if you told me whenever that is done, whenever it is, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he wound up back in Ames being part of this program in some way, shape, or form. Being a local guy as well, who means so much to the program and to the entire community.
Oh, Fred Hoiberg is known as the mayor in Ames. I think you might have to say Tamin Lipsy is the governor. What a year Nebraska's had. How about Fred Hoiberg, the Big Ten Coach of the Year? Nebraska has never won an NCAA tournament game, and I think there's a very good chance that drought ends this year.
And they will certainly have a very high seed, so they would be heavily favored going into that first game. The foul, by the way, was on Odom, his fourth. He's gone to the bench. Look at the defensive pressure again, but it ends up in a foul. I think Buchanan.
No, I thought that Jefferson got him.
Yeah.
Jefferson got him with that left hand swiping down. But even on that possession, give Truitt credit for getting that foul, but just a lot of dribbling because of the defense of Iowa State. They just take you out of anything you want to do.
Our next game, the 8-9 game here in Kansas City. Your old teammate Johnny Dawkins leads UCF. The Knights taking on the Cincinnati Bearcats, who have won 7 of 9. Right now, according to Joe Lunardi, UCF is just on the right side of the bubble. Cincinnati is just on the wrong side of the bubble. However you look at it, Mr. Billis, it is clearly a very, very big game for both teams.
No question. And UCF has had an outstanding year. Those two teams split the 2 games they played in the regular season. But ever since the Wes Miller apology, if you want to call it that, 9 games have been played, and Cincinnati won 7 of those 9. So the Bearcats on an upswing, and their big guys are solid.
Buchanan at the line. They counted the basket, so that is a 3-point play for him. Yeah, that figures to be a really interesting matchup between the Knights and the Bearcats, and then 2 more second-round games coming your way tonight. John Shambi, Fran Fraschilla, Angel Gray will bring you those games. Johnson got off to a pretty quick start. He was the only guy really doing anything the first 7 or 8 minutes for Arizona State. But then he had a couple of fouls, had a technical foul, and he's been pretty quiet since.
But Blake Buchanan did a really nice job there defensively. He switches out on the ball high on the left side, or excuse me, on the right side, then gets all the way back to the left to guard Jop and knock that ball away on a post pass.
Boy, somehow Johnson finds just enough room to get there and lay it in.
Just a Euro step around Momcilovic. But look how the degree of difficulty for the shots that Arizona State is getting. Just really, really high.
Jefferson, fade away. How good is that?
Talk about an old man game. You're not going to speed up Joshua Jefferson. He's physical, and then he's got a great skill level.
Yeah, he uses that shoulder very well to create the space, and then has the touch to knock it in.
Rebound by Nate Heisey, one of the best blue guys in the country.
Momcilovic for 3. Heisey the assist.
And Heisey just got in the way of Masamba Diop as he's trying to close out after he flipped that ball to Momcilovic.
We are obviously not there yet. There's still 9.5 minutes left in this game. But if this team, Iowa State, is to win this tournament, they're going to have to win 4 games in 4 days. And you would imagine, Jay, that's in the back of the mind of TJ Otzelberger about trying to get some of his regulars a little bit of time off today.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when, because you don't want to lose momentum either. Good pass.
Back to Heisey. Back to Jefferson. And the 3 won't go. Truitt the rebound.
Well, Iowa State didn't score there, but you know, there's no selfishness on this team.
Mayusin knocks down a pretty mid-range jumper.
Mayusin was good against Baylor. He had 12 points, knocked down 3 threes. And he's really good against Arizona. I think he had 16 points in that game against the Wildcats.
And they hung with the Wildcats in Tucson into the second half of that game. They played it pretty well. Buchanan drives. That's a foul and 1.
It looked like he was going to go for a dribble handoff with Momcilovic, and Masamba Diop just sort of, I don't want to say he fell asleep, but that was just a keeper and way too easy.
Buchanan is having himself an afternoon.
There's the grab. And now with the essentially continuation rule, that's a good basket. But you're right, Blake Buchanan has quietly had a really good game. You know, defensively, he's underrated.
Yeah, and he's a guy you hardly ever run plays for. But he winds up being open after setting a screen, whatever, and that's a season high. 17 points for him already today. And the Buchanan Jefferson fan club is happy here today.
I'm pretty sure that Thomas Jefferson never wore ski goggles.
A 39-point game. Okeba into Truitt, and he's got an and one opportunity.
Truitt, when the help side defense shifted over, came over from the left corner. That's a really smart cut by Santiago Truitt.
Cutting an underappreciated, or moving without the ball, an underappreciated skill.
Yeah. Well, I think it's an appreciated skill when you do it well, and he really did it well on that occasion. And, Truitt transferred in for the University of San Diego, and he had 20 rebounds in a game against UC San Diego last year.
Leda to Heisey, back out to Torre. And a kick ball. They'll put 20 on the shot clock, and with exactly 8 minutes to go here in Kansas City, we will step aside. The Cyclones doubling up the Sun Devils. Cincinnati coming up. The Knights getting ready in one of the tunnels, one of the hallways here at T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. Again, Cincinnati and UCF both right in around that bubble area. Joe Lunardi's got UCF just in, Cincinnati just out. Either way, it matters big time to both as Lipsy knocks down a three.
Iowa State out of bounds underneath, just ran a little flex action, a baseline cut and then a down screen for the screener, and Lipsy could not have been more wide open.
Odom surrounded and foul. Looks like Torre, I believe.
Number 27,
Bobby Hurley's been the head coach at Arizona State for 11 years, 185 wins, 166 losses, 3 trips to the NCAA tournament, most recently 2023. But again, a lot of talk, speculation that Arizona State is not going to look to retain him. His contract expires at the end of this year. Again, I know you know him incredibly well from your time together. You were an assistant coach on some of Bobby's teams at Duke University. As fierce, his brother, as fierce a competitor as there is in the game, and you hope whatever happens, there are good things in the future for Bobby Hurley.
Well, there will be, but Bobby Hurley, you mentioned he's won 185 games at Arizona State with those 3 NCAA tournaments. That included back-to-back NCAA tournament berths at Arizona State, and that hadn't happened since Ned Wolk in the early 1980s. And Ned Wolk coached at Arizona State for about 25 years. And that one team he had in 1981, I was in high school in Los Angeles. I mean, he started Fat Lever, Byron Scott, Sam Williams, Kurt Nymphius, and Alton Lister. That was just before Arizona State went into the old Pac-8 and it became the Pac-10.
Truitt knocks down the first. And Hurley was asked about it after the game last night. Chris Budden reported on this at the top of our show today. Hurley said, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, but he has not been notified of anything by the administration, but it does sound as well, Jay, like he has talked to his players about what appears to be coming, and just trying to get them all to block it out, play the game, which they did yesterday. They played hard. They played well against Baylor yesterday. Led basically wire to wire, but obviously they can see the reality of the situation and the end of their season coming with what's going on here today.
Yeah, and they ran into a buzzsaw with this Iowa State defense that just came out from the opening tap, made everything difficult.
Ribovich, no, and the rebound to Jefferson. 4 starters and Bateman in the game right now for Iowa State with 6:20 to go here in this one. Buchanan, nice find. Bateman trying to reverse it, get it up and under, couldn't do it. And Jefferson almost took it away, and now Lipsy's got it. Jefferson with another and one opportunity.
Look, it's been a rough day for Arizona State. There's no denying that. But Masamba Diop has to stop dribbling. There's no reason for a 7-footer to be bringing the ball up the court like that. You're just begging for it to get taken away. I mean, that's probably his 6th turnover of the game, if not 5th. And he had 7 turnovers in the last time these two teams played.
Mo Odom has fouled out of the game. A guy who averages almost 17 never could get untracked here today. Just 2 points in this one.
You know that TJ Otzelberger was targeting Mo Odom. You can't let a scorer like Mo Odom get started, and they never let him get started.
And you see an embrace there between Bobby Hurley and Mo Odom.
Mo Odom had a great year.
Yeah.
Just a great year. Averaged 17 a game, over 6 assists. And he's only one of 5 players in the country that averaged 15 points, 5 assists, and shot 40% from 3 in conference play. Darius Acuff Jr., Christian Anderson, Boopie Miller, and Braden Smith were the only others to do that. That's a pretty good list.
That is. And a senior, right? So if this is the end of the line for Arizona State, this is the end of the line for him as a collegiate player as well. And that's always a sobering moment for a player.
Well, you remember last year what he did at Pepperdine in the West Coast Conference Tournament. I mean, he was spectacular, getting Pepperdine to the semifinals before they got beat by St. Mary's. That game he had against Santa Clara was just outstanding. Big-time player.
Bateman gets inside and misses the runner, but Buchanan an offensive rebound. Trying to get a shot off over Jop. Instead, it's Lipsy to reset, 10 to shoot.
Iowa State hasn't forced anything in this game.
Deflected, and then a foul on Jop. And that's going to send Buchanan to the free throw line because Arizona State's already over the limit.
Boy, Buchanan has had a really good game. Got 6 rebounds, 17 points, about to add to that.
And TJ Otzelberger is starting to bring some of his starters out. Lipsy and Jefferson each get a big ovation. Heisey has come back in, and Cade Kelderman, a 6'1" junior from Waukee, Iowa, into the game for the first time today.
Cade Kelderman has been a real leader for this team. He doesn't play a lot of minutes, but he's a trusted player. He's just a culture guy every single day. Remember last year when Iowa State had all those injuries and they go to Houston? Kelderman has to play extended minutes of the game and did a great job. Like Iowa State almost won that game.
This is him with the ball right now. It's a 42-point lead, under 5 minutes to play, and TJ Otzelberger starting to think about tomorrow and hopefully, he hopes, a couple of days beyond that here in Kansas City. Good fake. Bateman's done that so many times. What a block there by Mukeba. Mayusin. Jop with a reverse slam.
Jop's had a few good minutes here. He was really strong on that pick and roll the last defensive possession, getting a piece of the ball before fouling. Good fake, my goodness.
And a good shot as well. Momcilovic with his 4th 3 of the game.
He's going to play in the NBA for a long time. With his size, that high release, and you make shots at that level with the additional space you're going to have in the NBA, he's a weapon. Can really stretch the floor.
Johnson fires in a pass inside, but it rolls off the rim for Truitt.
That's the kind of day it's been. And Truitt's had a good game. Like he's done some good things in this game. It's just been it's going to go unnoticed because of the score differential.
3:46 to go. Iowa State well on its way to the quarterfinals tomorrow in a matchup with Texas Tech. One of the big reasons why Milan Momcilovic knocking him down time and again. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball. Started with 16 and down to 12. Shortly, it'll be 11 as Iowa State is on its way to finishing off Arizona State and advancing into the quarters to take on Texas Tech. What a game that should be to open up the Thursday part of the schedule. Mo Odom has fouled out. Arizona State will see their season come to an end at 17 and 16. And it has been surgical today for the Cyclones. Kelderman being bodied and fouled by Johnson. Let's go to Chris.
Might have found someone on the floor smarter than even the two of you. Jamarian Bateman was valedictorian at his high school, Milwaukee Institute of Science. He is an actuarial science major at Iowa State. And if TJ Otzelberger ever needed some help in a halftime locker room speech, maybe take some from his valedictorian speech. He said, "We are resilient, we are persistent, stay dedicated to the grind, and don't fear adversity. All life is about whether you can fight adversity or not."
Chris, thank you. That's an odd one because I was an actuarial science major. We have never talked about this on the air because I don't know if you know this, but talking about actuarial science doesn't drive the rating.
Well, I was going to say, like, there's no group of people I like to party with more than actuarials. It's right above insurance.
Yeah. Pig Johnson has fouled out. That is interesting stuff. If you're an actuary. Kelderman at the line as the hugs continue for Johnson.
Jamarian Bateman also has 8 siblings. I thought it was difficult with 3.
And leaving it short at the rim was Trevor Best, who has played sparingly today. Odom and Johnson have both fouled out.
Trevor Best was the only scholarship player from Arizona State that returned from last year. Bobby Hurley had to get an entire new roster from last season.
And we'll talk about that a little bit in the next game. Johnny Dawkins did not have a single point back from last year. Had to replace every single point he had. And has gotten his team an 8th seed in this tournament and maybe a spot in the NCAA tournament. They can strengthen that case if they could beat Cincinnati in our next game. You know, the Bearcats are going to be coming right after them. They're playing well. Torrey, a little shake of the head. He was so wide open. The shot clock was running down. He kind of didn't have a choice. He took it, and he made it.
Maybe that takes the lid off the basket. He was 0 of his last 11 from 3 coming into this game. And Arizona State really didn't even guard him throughout the course of this game. But if he gets the confidence to start taking those shots, it makes him that much more difficult to guard.
And now it's his turn to get an ovation as he will come out. Nate Heise as well. And TJ Otzelberger goes a little bit deeper into his bench, bringing in Eric Mulder, a 6'9 senior from Oskaloosa, Iowa, and Dominic Nelson, a 6'5 senior from Miami.
Eric Mulder played at Purdue Fort Wayne. And when he was there, he shot 78% from the field. That year was the best in the country.
Torrey turns it over. Ja left it a little bit short. Mulder down with a rebound. So we thought Torrey was coming out. The 2 other Cyclones came out. Torrey is still in the game at the moment. Kelderman with a great feed to Nelson. And even the fairly deep reserves on this roster are having a good time on this court here today.
Kelderman does a nice job in there. Just runs the team. You can see why he's such a trusted player by TJ Otzelberger.
Iowa State ball again. This looks like it is going to be the most lopsided game in Big 12 tournament history. The previous record is 43. A Texas win over Colorado in 2000. This one's at 49 right now. Torrey from the elbow. And it's down to Jopp with just 1:10 to go.
That was a nice thing there by Kip Kissinger. He pretended like he was getting some condensation off the floor, but he did that just to get subs in.
As Torrey now does officially leave the game, and Anthony Rise, a 6-foot freshman, number 7 for Iowa State, checks in.
Anthony Rise was All-State in Wisconsin. He had 46 points in a high school game.
Rimovich lays it in inside the final minute. How about a quick thought on Iowa State, Texas Tech coming your way tomorrow?
Well, Texas Tech can really shoot the three, especially Donovan Atwell. That's going to be the issue, is Iowa State guarding their shooters, guarding their actions with Christian Anderson, who's one of the best guards in the country, bar none.
A three-point opportunity for Mulder. And he's all smiles, and so are all of his teammates.
Mulder just took his time in the post. Nice drop step to his left shoulder to get that goal to go off the glass through contact.
Well, you like to see guys like this have these moments. They work so hard. They practice just as hard as the regulars do. And to see them get a little bit of time out there on the court is always good to see. And now a timeout for Bobby Hurley, as he is going to take Alan Mukeba out of the game. And again, for some of these Sun Devil players, this marks the end of their collegiate careers. It has been all Iowa State here today, up by 49 with 36 seconds to go, as the ball is going to be inbounded by Best. Mukeba exchanging hugs with everybody on the Sun Devil bench.
And one of the reasons I think Bobby Hurley called that timeout to get Mukeba out, he wanted to, I thought I saw him say thank you to Mukeba. Nice moment between coach and player.
Shot clock turned off. That is going to do it. End-to-end, wire-to-wire, absolute domination by the 5-seed Iowa State. They will move into the quarters, and a date with Texas Tech tomorrow. What a game that should be. The biggest margin of victory in Big 12 tournament history, 91-42 for the Cyclones, who got contributions from everybody. Their defense was absolutely suffocating, Jay, here today.
From the opening tap, Iowa State was on point defensively. They forced Arizona State further out on the floor. Making passes was difficult. Just a magnificent defensive performance by Iowa State.
Time now for the player of the game, brought to you by Phillips 66. And after a slow start today, Joshua Jefferson really got going and put up great numbers as always. 20 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 assists for one of the most uniquely skilled and talented players in the country. And we'll see how he does against Texas Tech. What a game it should be tomorrow. Again, the final 91-42 for Jay Bushman and our entire crew. I'm Dan Shulman saying thanks so much for joining us here in Kansas City. Let's send you to the studio. Wes Durham, Dennis Scott, Joel Berry, Jim